Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Learning Lounge with Attensi. We are out and about on the road again, and I'm very pleased to say we're at Fuller's head office. I'm joined by, as you can see, a few people. So first of all, thank you very much for having us. But if I could come to Mark first. Mark, tell us a bit about your role here at Fuller's, and actually, could you give us a bit of background on the organisation?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Mark Peters. I look after the talent function here. So that includes learning and development. That's our online learning. It's all the learning that we run for our hub-based teams, from team member induction all the way through to our leadership development, but also the training that we do in our support centre. So Fuller's is a southern-based premium pub company. Our heartland is London. We have pubs down into Hampshire. We've got some fantastic businesses in the Cotswolds, and a number of pubs under the brand of Bell and the Dragon. And recently we've acquired some lovely pubs. They're called lovely pubs in the kind of Midlands, Warwickshire area. So overall, about 185 premium pubs and hotels. We employ around 5,000 team members in total. And like any hospitality business, you know, turnover can be high. So the inductions and the training that we run for our teams, certainly the online training, is really, really important. But more about that later.
So what I'm hearing, Mark, is small remit.
Yeah.
Amazing. Errol, if we could come to you next. Errol, before I jump in with my question for you, could you tell us a bit about your role as well here?
Yeah, sure, of course. So I'm the content manager here, and my role is predominantly content creation and obviously running the Attensi platform as part of it. Also, as part of that, we are running the comms part of the business, which is predominantly on Attensi. But overall, it's all about focused on training, online learning, and content creation, basically.
Amazing. So talk to us a little bit, Errol, about what you're specifically using Attensi for at the moment to support with your training.
Yes, as Mark mentioned there, it's predominantly used for online learning. So our induction and compliance is a big part of it. But we produce a lot of content in-house, which goes kind of hand in hand with other training programs we have, whether it's part of the blended learning or pure online learning itself. And all of that is kind of managed on Attensi. But the content creation has become a huge part of our department. So we built all the skills games, product knowledge like fast courses, and any other courses that are relevant as part of the business objectives. Now, the other part also is the comms. We use Attensi quite a lot for comms, and I'm not sure how is that partnering with the other businesses, but comms is quite powerful on Attensi, and that's been used quite a lot as well in the business.
Could I just jump in? Could I just ask, Errol, you said the comms is quite powerful. How is that? Well, what do you mean by that? How is it powerful?
So there's built-in tools, which is the kind of the engage tools. Yeah. So we capture people right from induction. We use the engage tools to engage them right at the start. You know, reminders, emails, app notifications, and so on. But we also run campaigns. So if we launch anything in the business, whether it's new skills games, new training, or even part of marketing, we use Attensi, the built-in features for, the featured banners. The news section is used quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
Or we link from our internal comms to Attensi. So we have emails linking to different resources on Attensi. So we use that feature quite a lot.
Yeah, I can hear what you're saying from previous roles I've had, where it's great when you create something brilliant, but it's not so great if nobody knows about it, right? So it's useful communication tool.
Definitely.
Thanks, Errol. Thank you. Scott, if we could come to you next. So Scott, please tell us a little bit about your role here at Fuller's.
So, afternoon. I'm Scott Clark, Learning and Development Manager here at Fuller's. We all have lots of crossover in our roles. So predominantly we are a business that puts our people first. I suppose my role is making sure that, one, we have career pathways for all individuals. So from our brand new starters, starting, if you like, on the shop floor, and how we can actually develop and nurture their careers so one day they become managers in their own right, whether that is running a business as a general manager, whether it's running a kitchen. So, or if people want to progress their careers and start to move into our support centre, which we're here today, whether they want to move into learning and development, whether they want to move into IT operations, we make sure that actually there is a people first culture, and we make sure that actually we've got the right tools, the right information, so the right programs for people to develop their skills from a behavioural point of view, but also a knowledge and skills point of view as well. So Attensi is very much part of that. So we're actually, as Mark mentioned earlier on, we've got 5,000 team members out there. So we can't all get them into face-to-face classroom sessions, so which wouldn't make any kind of financial sense. But it enables us to put the right packages, the right content together in short bite-sized form for a lot of people, so people can consume kind of knowledge. So think about kind of how they're going to interact with team members, customers when they're in the workplace, and they can do that on the way to work, on the bus, on the train, if they get the odd minute while they're setting up. So a little bit of refresher. So there's knowledge and there's tools there for everybody to absorb. So, but ultimately it's kind of my role just to make sure that actually we offer the right development for all of our team members across the board.
It's great to hear, and it makes a lot of sense. I'm also hearing lots of homegrown talent here at Fuller's.
Yes, it's I think it's a real part of our culture. So as I say, we are a people first business. So, and it's very much, I think from everybody that works here, actually, they take great delight in seeing people move, through their career journey. So, and stepping through the ranks. So it's great. And we've got numbers of cases where we've had team members join the business fresh out of school, whether they've been sort of kitchen porters or part-time team members working front of house, that are now either general managers in their own right. We've actually got some cases of ops managers that have started literally on the very first rung of the shop floor. So I very much believe that actually we do offer careers for absolutely everybody here. So it's a great place to be. It's a great place to work.
Really great to hear. So could I just ask, so once a piece of training or a series of training, once it's been created and it's ready to go, what does implementation look like to your employees or the people in working in pubs?
I mean, it's a good question, and Errol talked about the comms earlier on, and that's really important actually that we get that right. One thing you'll find in our business, because we have such a variety of roles, one piece of content is not fit for everybody. So if we're putting out some training material which is directly related to people performing their roles at a high level at the front of house, then we don't need our kitchen teams sort of absorbing that. One, I think it's sometimes just making sure that all content is relevant for the audience.
Yes.
So that's a real big thing. We do lots of incentives. So we try to get everybody kind of really involved in it in terms of getting that excitement about it. So we'll come up with a comms plan. We'll engage their operations managers, who knows what's coming, what we're trying to achieve. We'll attach some KPIs around those. And then we'll kind of have quite a big launch. There'll be lots of information sort of bombarded out there. We'll have little teasers coming on Attensi, coming soon, watch this space. We'll put a series of postmasters out there, which is kind of our internal comms. And we try to make sure actually that all of us get out there, and talk about it in terms of what we're releasing, why it's important, and what's in it for them as well, actually. So, and we've had a number of successes, whether that is an uplift in sales of our Cascale, Perfect Pause. So we're starting to really sort of see and reap the benefits of some of the campaigns we've done with targeted learning.
So it's really great. It's really great to hear and see the impact, right? But just a thought. So you mentioned the competition, but surely people in the pub trade are not competitive, right?
Well, I think that's been, one of the successes of Attensi, is people trying to get on top of leaderboards. And just generally for our ops managers in terms of looking after their particular areas and pubs actually as a collective, making sure that they're kind of top of the tree in terms of getting the most points. And I think that's been a kind of real win actually of the Attensi platform. That's kind of gamification from a competitive point of view. So it's landed really well.
It's great to hear. Great to hear. Mark, if we could go back to the start a little bit, I suppose, maybe this should have been my first question, but what was it that made you decide, as a group, that game-based learning is kind of the way forward for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we implemented Attensi, what was it now, guys? Probably about 18 months ago. The journey started. And we've always had online platforms where people have gone to complete their induction training, core compliance training. But if you think about the type of industry we are and the demographic of team members coming through, we've got an awful lot of Gen Z, younger people coming through. And that traditional approach to e-learning, click next, dry as dishwater, just doesn't wash anymore. And outside of compliance training, what's the incentive for someone to complete training on things like delivering a great customer experience or upselling to enhance the experience or product knowledge? Actually, there isn't, if it's just that kind of traditional approach to e-learning. So we wanted something that would really engage our team members. We want to try and encourage them to want to go onto the platform and to learn. And I guess the big plus, I think, with Attensi is that idea that it's through repetition, right? I complete the learning. I may not score brilliantly on the first time that I complete it, but I'm incentivized through the leaderboards, etc., to go back on and try again and improve my score. So I'm learning without even knowing that I'm learning. Yeah. And to change behavior, it doesn't happen overnight. You got to you need that repetition. So it becomes almost habitual.
Yeah.
And that was really the game changer element that we saw with Attensi, to move away from that traditional approach to more of a fun, engaging approach to learning.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and also linked to kind of what Scott was saying around, particularly we've heard a lot about the car scales and the success you've had in that, and I suppose 5,000 employees, being able to keep it consistent and target, and as you mentioned, target the right people with the right type of training. So it makes a lot of sense. It's great to hear. Errol, if we could come back to yourself. So Errol, I have on good authority. Obviously, I know you use our creator tool to create content. I have good authority that you're an expert. And I want to ask you a little bit. So obviously, we've introduced a number of AI tools to support that content creation. I'd love to get your thoughts on how that's supported and helped you on that creation journey.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the AI tools, I think, has been kind of game changer for us, because it's still kind of a new field for us when we build the games. Because we only started like back in February.
Yes.
But when the AI tools came in, I think the efficiency went up big time. I mean, especially with tools like the voice generation, choosing the right accents, building the characters. That's been a hugely popular for us. And we also now looking at other things like translating content and stuff like that. Anything that is coming, kind of we want to put into use. But if you look at the production time from the initial launch, maybe it was taking us, 3 months to build something. We can probably build that in half of that time now with using the AI tools that you have. And I've seen there's much more new features coming that we're looking forward to kind of using those. So so our production pipeline has really become much more efficient, which helps us then bring in, because we work with a lot of stakeholders. If we build a game, we involve a lot of our content specialists, whether these are GMs or part of a department like marketing and so on. So that kind of helps in increasing the efficiency and bringing those people on board, using the tools, generating very quickly a test model that we can test very quick and get the feedback and then go back and enhance the game. So it's been quite helpful on that sense.
Yeah, and I imagine you mentioned the stakeholders, additional stakeholders. Of course, we know from history that quite often once Attensi's inside an organisation, everybody wants a piece of it, and everything's urgent and important, right? So it's good to hear that we can really support with that kind of eliminating time, but I suppose helping with efficiency as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the demand is increasing, because we can see that, once we start reaping out the benefits, we see more business cases or others approaching us to build the games for specific campaigns in the business or different objectives, whatever is happening in the business, a lot of the times these skills games are coming in really relevant for that purpose as well.
And Errol, I just want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier around, we know blended learning is crucial to a learning journey. I think you mentioned earlier about using Attensi to support other types of training. Would that be to help certify, so if somebody's attended a face-to-face course or if they've watched a video or a PDF, would you then use Attensi to support that?
Yes.
I suppose certification almost.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of training programs going on, as Scott mentioned. But induction, it's a great example for it. So a lot of the induction is happening face-to-face. You have specific periods you have to induct someone and go through a lot of steps, right? But almost at every step, you have piece of online training or bite-sized learning that will help in that journey, whether it's a product knowledge, the Fuller's formulas, the values, customer experience, and things like that. So I have a huge list of steps you want to go through, and you kind of mix online blended learning with Attensi and then what's happening face-to-face. And actually helps managers and whoever is doing the inductions, makes their life easier, because on Attensi, on the dashboard, you can see when the person started and you can track their progress very quickly and see immediately what they've done. Okay, go back to the floor, continue with face-to-face, back to online, whatever the next step is. So that's a prime example of that blended learning. But obviously you have the likes of management MTP training, which also uses Attensi as part of their, courses. So you have our flagship program, Lead Your Way. You have journeys there that you have to go through as part of your blended learning. So everywhere, almost in every development program we have, Attensi is somewhere featured somewhere on that training, on those courses.
That's amazing. Thank you, Errol. Scott, if I could come to you next, it's quite a sort of broad question, but how would you summarise, how's the training been received in the organisation?
I think for our pub teams, so certainly our front of house teams, it's been received exceptionally well, actually. So I think there's a lot of content that we've created for them, which is actually had an immediate impact in terms of their ability to be more effective in their role. Whether that's dealing with checking people in on a reception point of view, if you work in some of our hotels, from Errol discussed earlier on about our product knowledge videos, which have gone down really well. So the content that we're producing and we're releasing, there's been a real direct correlation between actually their job role and making life easier for them. Our back of house teams, I think from our induction piece and starting to release more content, which is actually specific for our back of house team roles, whether that's our head chef, chef the parties, etc. So there's a real relevant content there for them. General managers, I think on the whole have absolutely loved it because their team members have been talking about it. They've been engaging and absorbing the content that we've been releasing, which at the end of the day seems to be having a good impact on sales. So absolutely. So the sales are there actually, and things like NPS, or our customer satisfaction's actually going up. So I think what it's really done is help engage people in terms of thinking about actually what's the job all about. It's to satisfy and look after our customers as they're coming in, and enabling to have the tools to give them the information, to give them the confidence to deal with our external and our internal customers. So I'd say it's been really positive. It's been really well received. So there's still a long way to go. There always is. But I certainly think it's had a great impact so far. So, and I think 2025, again, we're really looking forward to full steam ahead. I think there's a lot more work we can do to start to open some real clear pathways and real clear relevant content to our kitchen teams, and as I said, our back of house teams, our reception teams, and we're going to do quite a bit around sort of sales and that kind of value for money. How do we enhance people's experience when they step into any of our businesses? We know life's tough out there actually at the moment, so we need to make sure that we're arming our team members with the right skills and knowledge, encouraging really positive behaviours, which we know will go a long way in terms of delivering that exceptional customer service, which nourishes the soul, as we talk about internally.
And I guess there's a piece of that it's tough at the moment, right? It's tough living in the UK, and actually our disposable cash, we want an experience. Would you say you see that much more with your customer base? And you mentioned your NPS has gone up.
Absolutely. I think every year the expectation of what our customers expect when they come into any of our businesses, whether it's to have a drink, whether it's to dine, whether it's just to having an experience, so it is getting tougher out there. So, and I think it's giving our team members the tools so they have the right things in their armoury, so they can talk to guests as they should do. So, but I think a lot of that comes from the inner confidence that you have. So, whether you're a school leaver, whether you're returning back to work, whether you've been in this industry for a long time, the rate of change and the pace of change in our industry is enormous. So I think, as I said, the right content given to people at the right time gives them the confidence, and if they're feeling confident, then obviously the service and the interactions they can have with our guests and our customers coming through the door is elevated. And we pay a lot of attention to that. So we have a group of people in the business called service coaches, and their kind of sole mission really in life is to make sure that they spread the word of what is excellent, engaging service in our industry. So, and I certainly, when I go out into our pubs, which is quite regularly, you can really kind of feel that. It's we can give people some content to absorb, but actually the feeling you get when you walk into our pubs, it kind of, it's probably a bit L&D, but it does give you that kind of warm, fluffy feeling that actually the content we are there is supporting and making our team members feel more.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's fair to say, each of you have talked a lot about the benefit to the employees and to the teams here, but obviously it's nice for yourselves, right, that you're creating content, you're creating training programs that's having a real impact, and you yourself can see that come to life. That's pretty special. So, question for all of you, actually. So, you've been on what's quite a journey from the sounds of it, and lots of impact, lots of success. If I was to ask you, what's the one piece of advice you'd offer to your fellow L&D colleagues out there and that are looking to transform their learning program, what would it be?
Yep.
So, I suppose the one piece of advice, if you're thinking of launching Attensi, is really strong communication and co-creation. They were the two nuggets, I think, that have led to the success of the implementation and the way that people have engaged with Attensi. So right at the start, we pulled together a group of people from across the business and worked with them to create some of the content, the initial content that we see on Attensi, but also the look and the feel of the platform. I think if people have had an opportunity to have some skin in the game, much more inclined to buy into it when we launch it. And then that combined with a really, really strong communication campaign prior to the launch, it was off to a really good start from day one. I think that's really, really important. So my advice would be really think about how you engage your teams beforehand, how you co-create some of that content and the look and feel, and what does a really, really strong communication plan look like in the build-up to launching Attensi.
Yeah, it makes a great deal of sense. I think that co-creation really resonates with myself. I think it's almost recognising as well that you need the experts, and those experts are already in the business, not to mention the engagement levels you then get from the training. Makes a lot of sense. Next question would be, to, again, a broad question, and I'd implore you to be honest, all three of you. But if I could ask you, how have you found working with Attensi?
Errol, I'm going to pass it.
Yes. I'll be quite honest. The experience has been amazing. Like, we've been sailing through. If you think of back to February now in December, right? So it's a quite short period of time. I think we achieved things that you would normally achieve maybe in 2 years' time of what we did in the short span of time. So the team has been amazing. We understand each other very clear on the objectives, what we're trying to achieve. And we've been working kind of really gelled really well with kind of the support we get from Attensi, the help. And we're clear on our objectives and the path going forward. So it's been a great experience. And it's an honest opinion of the experience I personally had.
It's great to hear. Thank you, Errol. And then just finally, so I think, Scott, you mentioned a little bit earlier, but what's next? What's the future?
That's a very good question. I think it's building on the success that we've had so far, actually. I suppose Mark talks a lot about co-creation, which is really, really important. It's about making sure that we feed in terms of where the business is going in the direction of travel. So what's important at board level? How does that filter down in terms of what happens in our pubs? And making sure that we're aligning the content that we're releasing, which helps us achieve that. It's we're in it together. So whether you're on the board, whether you're just starting out in your induction in the pubs, we're all in this together in terms of the future success of the organisation and Fuller's as a whole. So it's making sure actually we release the right content. Stuff that we maybe not touched on, but we have a spreadsheet of content that people have asked us to release and what's coming on, and that's forever growing, which is wonderful to see. And I think some of the other bits that Mark's talked about and Errol, but I think when you kind of launching Attensi is not to bombard it and flood it with content, which is always something that you're really excited about. Go, actually, we've created all of this stuff, and then actually sort to release it all together, where it loses its impact a little bit. So Errol mentioned the comms, so it's making sure that we work with our marketing team and in our internal team and our stakeholders to make sure we're releasing content at the right time, which has the most impact. Because feedback's two ways. We might think actually this is really great, this is fit for purpose. Until it's been out there and absorbed by our team members, and actually we can see it working, whether that is through NPS, whether it's through sales, whether it's for increased volumes, customer satisfaction. Only then do we know it's actually worked, which then helps us to make sure that we are keeping creating engaging, exciting content.
Makes so much sense. The right content at the right time is definitely the key that's popped out there. Fantastic. Errol, Scott, Mark, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for hosting us in this beautiful office and amazing environment. That's it for this edition of the Learning Lounge. If you'd like to get in the driving seat of any of our solutions or learn more about game-based learning, you're only to reach out and connect. But thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon.